Lost in Box is one of the very best decks in the format, and there's no debating it. It already has won over $130,000 in its whole standard existence, and it isn't even out of standard yet, so it has a long lifetime ahead of itself. But Obsidian Flames is just around the corner, and there are a couple new cards that I think it could really mess up Lost Zone Box. We all can agree that Sableye is the reason why Lost Zone Box is super good. Lost Mine being able to take multiple prizes, set up knockouts, is just such a powerful attacker, especially because they can get to 10 fairly easily. But there's a new Toad Scroll EX. It's the same ability as the old Espeon VMAX from Evolving Skies, which reads that all of our Pokemon that have energy attached to them are immune from effects of our opponent's attacks. So that means all of our Pokemon that have energies attached to them cannot be damaged with Lost Mine, which is a huge, which honestly could be huge for Zoroark decks, because this is a stage 1, so we could use that Phantom Transformation and turn that Zoroark into a Toad Scroll. And then also has that Colony Rush attack, which can do up to 280 damage if all of our Pokemon have grass energy attached to them. So being able to reach Pokemon V-Stars is very nice, and it's sort of the reason why I think that this card is going to have more potential than Espeon VMAX, because Espeon's been out for a while, but really hasn't seen too much play, hasn't been able to slow down Lost Zone Box. It just has this synergy with Zoroark, so maybe, knock on wood, Zoroark will be viable now. I don't really know, because I feel like we say that after every set. But it actually has a viable attack, and also the Dark weakness on Espeon is a big hindrance to it, because everyone's playing Dark Pokemon right now to deal with Gardevoir and Mew VMAX, and you sort of get caught in the crossfire like a Lost Zone Box deck if it's playing Drapion. You can just Mirage Gate to the Drapion and gust up your Espeon and knock it out, and then you're back where you started and you gave it 3 prizes. But Toad Scroll has a very stomachable weakness in Fire type, so I think that is going to be a lot better in the standard format than Espeon. And also we have amazing energy acceleration with Fortress, making it so it's actually a viable attacker hitting big damage, whereas Espeon's attack is just based on if our opponent has energy in play, which is very controllable. And for a long time, people have tried to beat Lost Zone Box by combining like Roxanne or Iona with Path to the Peak, and just hope that they didn't find the pieces to rebuild and close out the game, which Path to the Peak didn't really do a whole lot. It could shut off Reading Greninja, but the Lost Zone Box player wasn't generally too bothered by it. But there is a new stadium that could potentially be even more annoying than Path to the Peak, and that is the Pokemon League HQ. It makes it so all basic Pokemon in play need one more colorless to attack, which Lost Zone Box really does not like this, because their main attacker is Sableye, which would then need 2 energies to attack. So that's one whole Mirage Gate to commit just to attack with Sableye, and they like to go through their stadiums and their Lost vacuums in the early game to power up their Mirage Gate as quickly as possible. So you sort of actually force them to keep bad cards for the late game instead of just instantly losing them after they reach 10 in the Lost Zone. So that's actually pretty cool. This will not, however, slow down Cramorant, because that Lost Provisions ability would make it so their attack cost would just go down to 0, so the Pokemon League HQ would have no effect. But this, combined with Hand Disruption in the late game, could definitely make things very difficult for the Lost Zone Box player, force them to play even more Mirage Gates, or force them to maybe play even more Lost Vacuums or Stadiums, which could be very annoying for the deck to actually work in. I don't really know where this actually fits right now in terms of actually standard format decks. I think Gardevoir EX could definitely incorporate it, just because it has all the energy acceleration, and it sort of has to play Stadium Bumps just to deal with Path to the Peak. So this one could be a nice tap card for Lost Zone Box. Gardevoir, of course, is already playing 4 Ionos. I also think Arceus decks could try to weave it in. It doesn't actually hinder Arceus at all, but Arceus is already taking a pretty favorable Lost Zone Box matchup, so it might be sort of overkill. And it also would be pretty funny if this actually gets worked into Lost Zone Box deck as like a mirror tech. I don't know if that's... I mean, Lost Zone Box isn't playing Hand Disruption, so that's probably sort of unlikely, but I think this card has a lot of potential, even maybe installing and controlling decks. We already have Cloth and Absol as some new toys for control, so add League HQ to the list of new things that Control has to play with. But what do you think? Will Toad Scroll and League HQ take out Lost Zone Box, or is it here to stay for a little while? I don't think it will fully eradicate Lost Zone Box, but I do think these cards will definitely have an impact and maybe knock it down a few spots from being the second best deck in format to maybe just in or outside the top 5. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. This has been Alloutblitzle, and I'll catch you in the next one.